This is round 2 of a constructed tournament that we had at Portland Game Store at the beginning of January 2026. The top of the screen is Griff playing an Avatar of Air deck, and at the bottom of the screen is Landon playing a Necromancer deck. So the beginning of January, that was about a month after Gothic release, so we were still getting used to that set and playing with all the cards. I believe that this Necromancer build is just kind of like the classic flavor air earth build that you think of initially when you see Necromancer in the Gothic set. And the Avatar of Air deck is at this point in time, I believe Griff had made like a couple modifications to it with Gothic cards, but it was largely still kind of like the same, about what you would expect from an Avatar of Air deck at that point in time. Landon getting a Cloud City off as the home site, and then passing turn. It looks like he forgot to pay the 1 for the skeleton, but they might clean that up in a second here. It looks like that's what he's doing. Again, like, I think the set was pretty new, so we were still getting used to the cards and how they work. And honestly, like, sometimes like those types of triggers in general in games, you just accidentally forget to do. But it looks like they cleaned that up, and they got the token on the board. And I don't believe Griff had a turn 1 play, so he's going to pass turn back. Landon playing a Forgotten Tomb to dredge some cards into his cemetery here. And again, like I said before, I think that this Necromancer deck is a classic, sort of like flavorful Necromancer deck, where you try to get things in the graveyard, you recur them maybe with like Carrionet, Raise Dead, things like that. Playing a Foul Bones, again, a lot of synergy, like getting those types of undead cards that recur, like Foul Bones, Bone Jumble, Zombie Bruisers into your cemetery, and then recurring them with your skeleton tokens. Griff choosing to use a Magic Missiles early here to kind of just clear the board, try to control the board and keep the number of skeletons at a manageable pace. That's one thing with Necromancer, you don't want to let them get too far ahead in skeleton tokens. Landon playing a Windmill as his third site, playing defensively on the back row there. 2 to bank toolbacks, 1 to create a skeleton, and then passing turn. So I believe he's at 2 and 2 for thresholds right now. Griff playing a Pebble Path, no 3-drop for him, and passing turn. So Griff's Avatar of Air build has traditionally been an Air-Earth build, more mid-range focused. Less like mono air, can sometimes do like a slight aggro with smaller curve airborne minions. But I think he's more focused on getting things out like Pudge Butcher, vampires, and kind of using those pieces to hop around the board. Dalson Phalanx, I think, is also in there. Landon getting to 4 mana here, playing a Death Knight. Death Knight on turn 4 does not leave him mana to create another skeleton, and advancing his skeleton up. Griff with a dead turn there. I think maybe he made a mistake and he meant to draw a sight and he drew a spell instead. So then he had to tap for a sight and pass turn. Landon milling some more cards into his graveyard now. He's got a lot of tempting undead targets into his cemetery at this point. If he manages to catch something like a Carrionet to bring them out, he has those options at his disposal. Some good cards in his hand. He's got a Gift of the Wolf. He's got a Vampire in his hand. He's playing Gift of the Wolf now to boost +2 power onto the skeleton. I think he's tacking in for 4 points of damage, and then another 3, which I think is an atypical play now. But like I said, we were still kind of like feeling out the sets and figuring out like how to use these cards to the best of our advantage. I think like at this point in the set release, Gift of the Wolf is primarily only used when you need to kind of remove something from the board or make favorable trades. You don't want to use it as just the cycle or as a more aggressive play like Landon is doing here. But I think Landon is trying to push advantage, and kind of just like has his pedal on the gas here. He's playing really, really aggressively. I think he's out of cards now. I think he's top decking at this point. Griff managing to get out that Dalson Phalanx. That will help him stabilize the board here. The Vampire is a problem. He needs to find a removal option for that as soon as possible. Landon also taking a risky play, stacking all of his minions. I think he was debating. He was debating it. Just because it is a danger if you put all of your eggs in one basket and then put all of your minions on a single site. It makes you vulnerable to certain things. If Griff is running, for example, a cave-in, he could just cave in all of Landon's pieces on his turn here. Landon also just I think checking his collection because he has the toolbox out. I think for more competitive play, you kind of want to have your toolbox memorized. You don't want to have to be referencing it that often because it can somewhat telegraph what you may be deciding to do there. Again, like putting all your eggs in one basket, that was part of the fear there. Getting all of your pieces removed here. Griff with the whirling blades, spreading the minions out in the board state the turn before might I don't think it would have necessarily saved him that much. I guess it would have it would have mitigated a little bit of the damage because whirling blades can't on the Dalson Phalanx wouldn't allow them to take a step side to side. The Phalanx can only move forward. Landon playing a Wuthering Heights, always a good site to get down. And on the back row gives him a good staging area, a safer staging area. And then playing a Grandmaster Wizard to refill his hand, which is an opportune time to catch that card and be able to play that out. The Phalanx is going to get a swing in for another 5 points this turn, so it does put a little bit of pressure on Landon here. Landon needing to stabilize the game and get those last 3 points in on Avatar of Air, so he can start in on his end game here. He still has that toolbox, and if Griff is not able to get rid of the toolbox, I believe even at this point in the release we were still playing with things like Zap in our toolboxes for like instant death blows. So as long as he can get him to door, and Griff can't deal with the toolbox, it's just an instant win at that point when you crack the toolbox to fish out your kill spell. But unfortunately, like I said before, like Landon pushed very aggressively early, and so he was essentially out of cards before playing that Grandmaster Wizard. Galahad coming down onto the board, and Galahad can potentially do some work here. The life steal, the life gain from it on strikes could give Griff a little more time to come up with a response here. If Landon can't get him to door before Galahad can start healing, that gives Griff a certain advantage on the board at this point. Landon drawing a spell for turn. It looks like he has 2 Stygian Archers in his hand, but Stygian Archers, great pieces, just a little bit slow, I think, for what he needs right now. He's tapping his Necromancer for a sight. 6 mana in his mana pool for turn here. I can't quite see what he has in his hand. I think he still has that Vampire. Honestly, like, I would consider just playing the Vampire defensively to maybe try to trade with threaten to trade with the Phalanx. You have a blocker against Galahad, even though Galahad will give Griff a little bit of healing. But if you trade with the if you trade with the Vampire and the Phalanx, you would also gain a little bit of healing, and kind of remove the pieces on the board, help you kind of manage the board, and give you another turn to get some more things out. I think Landon thinking pretty hard here on what he wants to do. Instead, he's going to double down, play 2 Stygian Archers, and then fly the Cloud City away. So Landon does not have a target to attack into with Sir Galahad. And then thinking better of it and flying it all the way back into the corner. I think he was just probably getting paranoid about Avatar of Air and its ability to fly a unit atop an air site. He didn't want to risk Griff having something like a blink to get the Avatar of Air with Galahad and then push Galahad. Griff having a great answer here for that double minion play, grapple shotting the Phalanx into one Stygian, attacking in for the other one to clear both of them off of the board. Tapping for a Glastonbury Tor on the back row. That will bring his mana base up to 6. That should leave him with 3 mana left on turn. I don't think he had enough mana for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, he did. Unicorn's only 3 mana. So that's all of his mana. Moving Galahad to prepare to get him into a position to attack into a site, passing turn. Landon has a lot of cards in his hand at this point, but he doesn't. He doesn't have any solutions here. He's tantalizingly close to getting Griff to door, but he just kind of ran out of gas. He ran out of tempo to get there. He's got a pitchfork, which is not going to do much good. He's got a foul bones, which again, it's not going to do like a ton of work for him. I mean, the foul bones could, if he gets it down, and it has airborne, and so it's a little evasive. Griff might not be able to defend against it. You get the pitchfork on it. That's 2 points automatically. You could push in on a turn, but Griff has so many pieces on the board here that if Landon can't remove them or come up with some blockers, he will be going to door on the next turn. Which again is a bit of a problem for Landon. And Death's Door does give you an opportunity to respond in this game, the way that mechanic works. But if your opponent has an instant kill spell in hand, it doesn't really buy you another turn, unless you have a way to some way to potentially mitigate or avoid it. But there's like certain things in the game that are very, very hard to avoid, like a zap, or even like a projectile, like magic missiles from collection. If they can get one projectile hit onto you, that's it. Landon moving the Cloud City up again, so we can play Den of Evil. I think essentially playing the Foul Bones for free, playing out an Undead, or Returned King, and then moving the Grand Master up onto the Wizard's Den. And apparently one mana free to create a skeleton. Is that correct? 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. 7 mana in his mana pool. The Foul Bones comes in at a discount for free. I think that if so on this turn, Griff has the ability to push damage to bring Landon to door, and then on the next turn, Landon also, I think, has the pieces on board to potentially push Griff to door. It just depends on if Griff leaves up any blockers or removes any of Landon's pieces at this point in time. Landon's still holding on to that toolbox. I think he is his strategy is probably he's banking on having that be available for the kill spell. So as soon as he can get him to door, then he knows that if he can survive a turn, he has a win secured in his collection. Instead, Griff striking Landon's door, playing a Root Spider onto that Updraft Ridge, and then playing a Sturmgeist. So Griff, really stabilizing his position on the board. He has a lot of control on the board right now, and Landon is still just been struggling to regain a foothold here with the cards he has. Despite having a lot of cards in his hand, Griff has just had the answers to kind of deal with them, take back tempo, event, win the race to door here, and so Landon is now on the back foot. If Griff has a kill spell in his hand next turn, when Landon passes, the game is going to be over. Like, the issue is that, like, with the Foul Bones now, I mean, it has Airborne, but it can't attack in. It can't attack into Updraft Ridge because the spider would disable it, and it can't really attack in to Glastonbury Tor because the Sturmgeist can defend. If the Sturmgeist wasn't in play on the home site, I think Landon could play the Pitchfork, and that would get him to 3 power on the Foul Bones, and so he could push 3 damage. Landon choosing to play an Exhume to force the Root Spider up, and I think they're gonna miss and then catch this trigger with Sturmgeist. Again, this was still like early-ish days in the Gothic release, and so we were still getting used to some of these common cards and the triggers from them. To be perfectly honest, Sturmgeist, that trigger still gets missed frequently now. At time of recording this, I think we're like three months in to the Gothic release. It's an easy one to forget. These cards just kind of like they sit on the board, and they have very specific triggers, and sometimes you miss those triggers and ongoing effects, etc. I think they do eventually catch that though, and then kind of resolve and rewind this a little bit. Yeah, there goes Griff. He's realizing that the Sturmgeist needs to resolve. So they're winding that back really quick. He's saying that at the time when Exhume was cast, the Cloud City was back on that other square. So Sturmgeist would have to take a step close, which would be onto that site that the Root Spider is on. And then, given that knowledge, Landon would decline to fly Cloud City closer to the board. So I think Landon's either going to just leave Cloud City where it is, or potentially even just fly it back all the way back into the corner of the board again for some extra protection. It was a little Landon, I think, cracking his toolbox. Did he crack? He cracked his toolbox to cast a Displace. Displacing Galahad. And I think that the Displace is going to force... Yeah, they're catching it. It's going to force Sturmgeist to take a step closer again, so it has to take a step closer, as close as it can. So it has to go to that site. And that frees up the Foul Bones to attack in. So I think that I don't know if that exactly worked out the way that Landon was hoping, but because Exhume brought up the spider to the top surface, when he attacks in, Griff has the option to defend with the skeleton. Otherwise that would have been a pretty good play to get the Sturmgeist away from where he needed it to be to get Griff to door there. I think Landon out of mana now, just doing the best he can to kind of get everything into position here. And in fact, I think Landon actually didn't have enough mana to make all those plays last turn. He might have been off by 1. I think he needed 8 and he only had 7. But it doesn't matter because Griff has the kill shot with the toolbox in hand and zap from the collection, like we discussed before. So even then, at this early point in the release, like I said, everybody was running like the gimme cool spells, kill spells right off the bat in their collection. Like zaps were in there, like maybe lightning bolts were in there, magic missiles, just things to help round out the game. So that was round 2 of this local tournament. It was a pretty small tournament, I think maybe like 8 to 10 players. And we'll move on to the final round, game 3, next.